What's up, guys? Welcome to my home in Las Vegas, Nevada. Today I will be talking about how I fell back in love into training after I had a kid. Since we moved from California to Nevada, we built a home gym, and that's where I've been doing like 100% of my training. Training from my home gym has its perks and its bad stuff, if you will. Perks of training from home is that it's literally downstairs in my garage, so I can just roll out of bed, boom, bam, thank you, ma'am, I'm in there putting in the work, and I love that. I can wear whatever I want to wear without feeling weird or uncomfortable. I could blast the music as loud as I want to. I am just working by myself, so I'm not getting in anyone's way, no one's getting in my way, so it's really, really good in that aspect. But I guess the con or the bad side to it is that I'm by myself. There are days where I just don't want to train, or I don't have the motivation, or I'm tired and I'm like making excuses, or I'm like in my own head, you know? So having like that community is something that I definitely miss. I love training and looking over and seeing my friends or my loved ones train with me. So yeah, I don't really get that when I'm by myself. So I had a baby back in 2017. It wasn't really my priority to focus on myself in terms of like my physique or my strength or any of the exterior stuff that I used to care about before having a baby. It was more about just being present with my child, learning the ropes about being a new parent, trying to stay alive from the lack of sleep. And yeah, like fitness wasn't a priority. So I kind of put that and myself on the back burner for about 3 years before I actually decided to change that. My training was just non-existent. Like I was going from training minimum 4 times a week. Then as I got pregnant, it decreased to maybe like 3 times a week, and then maybe 2 times a week. And then like, you know, the 2 times a week became really, really light as my body started changing and my belly started growing. And then once I had Taika, it was none of that. Like I didn't step foot in the gym at all, really. We did have a garage gym at my old place where I lived at, but it was more like just trying to keep my joints lubricated, and it wasn't like a specific program that I was running. So the training significantly decreased, and it probably turned into something like I rode a bike maybe once a week, or I went on a random hike, or I would walk for 10 minutes a day, maybe a couple times a week, and that was pretty much it. At the end of my pregnancy, I was left with an additional 40 pounds. So I probably went into pregnancy about 145, 150, and by the end of it all, I was like 180. Like it was, that was the heaviest I had ever been. I had a bunch of loose skin, I had a big belly, just like everything was just not what my body, like what I was used to having my body look like. I didn't feel capable. I didn't feel like an athlete anymore. I felt rusty. I don't know, it was weird. Like I just felt like not myself anymore. So that was definitely something I had to get used to. But again, because the priority was trying to be a good mom for my son and trying to just be there for him, nourish him, eating the right things, because I was breastfeeding at the time, I kind of ignored all those signs. I ignored all of that stuff. And it wasn't until I sort of fell into some sort of depression. I felt really lost. And the reason why I don't want to emphasize the depression part of it is because that's not something that I have ever really experienced before. So I didn't get it professionally diagnosed. I'm just putting it out there to kind of help you understand how low I felt. And yeah, 3 years into it, I just didn't know who I was anymore. I didn't know what I liked. I didn't know what would make me happy anymore. Like I was just so zeroed in on helping this child develop and grow that I completely lost myself in the whole process. So initially, I need to start lifting again, hunger, thirst for that switch turned on for me at the end of 2020. And as much as I would like to think that it came from like, being in the pandemic or just, you know, not wanting to feel sad anymore, I think it was a lot of minor changes that I was making in my life that kind of led up to this moment at the end of 2020 where I was like, that's it, I'm done. So I want to say before Taika was even born, a lot of life changes, like huge life changes happened for me. One of them being, you know, I lost my dad, and it was unexpectedly. So that was something that like put life and the fragility, I guess, if you will, of how quickly life can just escape you, that put things into perspective for me. And then it went from losing that to now wanting to be closer to family and friends and create deeper connections. So then I started working on myself. I started working on and digging deep as far as like, who's Gio? Like, why does Gio get triggered with these things? Or why does Gio get sad over this thing? Or why does Gio have these insecurities? So I really started doing a lot of internal work, and I started realizing who I was and all the decisions that led up to the point I was at that moment, that started shaping and started showing me who I was, who I had become, and who I wanted to become. So there were a lot of these little moments that I was like, whoa, that's crazy. That just happened to me. Well, what can I learn from that? That slowly kind of snowballed into me finding this new self-love. December 2020 came around. I was like, that's it. I don't want to feel this way anymore. Emotionally, mentally, physically. I really want to take a hold of, who I am. And fitness was one of those things that I felt like was going to help me get there. So now we're talking January 2021, literally the first week in that. I was so committed to myself that I'm like, that's it, no more excuses. I'm going all in. I'm not gonna skip any training days, which I would, in previous years. And I went from literally not training at all to training 3 times a week. And then 3 times a week went to 5 times a week. The immediate goal was, let's just hit all my powerlifting numbers that I hit back when I last competed, back in maybe 2015. And that was the goal. And I was like, okay, so I want to hit that, and I also want to feel athletic. And luckily, I'm married to a very wise man who's well-versed in fitness. So Bart actually wrote all the programs for me, because he's like, okay, well, what's your goal? Told him, programmed everything out for me, and haven't missed anything since. So when I first started, it was a lot of putting my ego to the side, because I had competed. I had lifted some pretty good numbers. And when I started back after taking a freaking 5-year hiatus maybe in powerlifting, I had to just go back to the basics. I was benching the bar. I was squatting the bar. I was completely changing my forms. I was basically starting brand new. So starting off slowly, starting from the basics, and really, again, putting that ego to the side was so helpful, because I feel like that's what helped me clean up a lot of my form, fall in love with the sport all over again, because there's so many technical things that you have to hit. And I can see myself doing it for a long time, because up until this point, I'm talking about almost a year later, I've had 0 injuries due to lifting. For anyone that's like, oh man, I'm too old, or I've put it off for too long, or oh, what are people gonna think, or oh man, I'm better than this, I shouldn't be starting from the basics. You really need to put all that stuff aside, because just the amount of benefits that you're gonna get from just getting into the gym and having these little tiny daily goals is gonna do such a huge wonder for your self-esteem, your confidence, for how you structure your life, how you're gonna eat, how you're gonna love people, how you're gonna interact in the world. So yeah, put that ego aside, start from the basics, just understand why it is that you're doing what you're doing. You're doing it for yourself, you're doing it because you want to be better, and you shouldn't really be doing it for anybody else. So if you can focus on those key things of I want it for me, I want to build this for myself, I love myself, I want this, then I feel like you're gonna succeed. With lifting, it's super rad, because you get to see your strength going up from week to week when you get to add, 1 pound, 5 pounds, 10 pounds. And that did a lot for my confidence, and it did a lot for my morale. Because I was like, holy crap, I see the progress. I see my hard work paying off. And yes, I see the weights going up and my form's getting good and I'm feeling comfortable, feeling uncomfortable. But then my body started changing and I'm like, whoa, that wasn't the goal initially. Yeah, of course, it'd be nice to get back to where I was, but that wasn't the goal. The goal was just to feel athletic, to feel capable, and to get back the strength. But then when I started looking in the mirror, I was like, holy crap. My body's changing. My legs are starting to get tighter. My waist is getting smaller. And I wasn't intentionally trying to do that, but because I'm lifting and I'm creating and forming good habits, my eating started getting better. I started drinking more water because I was so exhausted from my training. I started sleeping longer and deeper. And the opportunity came for me to have this really cool, sexy photo shoot. And normally, in the past, I would have been like, no way, I can't do this, not at all. But I was in a different headspace and I already felt so good about myself and I felt so confident because again, I set a goal, I'm sticking to it, and week to week, I'm seeing myself get better and better. I'm like, okay, I don't know when I'm gonna have this opportunity again. I have to do it. I have to do it for myself. And what was rad about saying yes to that experience was the fact that I had another goal of like, hey, let me just look extra freaking good for this. So it helped me train a little bit harder up until I had that photo shoot. So since I've been training and I started training with a different mindset than I did back in the day, I've never felt better, and honest to God, I've never performed better, and I'd never ever have looked better than now. I'm 38 and I think this is the best that I have ever looked and felt. In terms of my fitness goals right now, I'm still trying to hit my old numbers, but the difference this time is that I'm trying to hit it with as perfect form as I can possibly do. The second thing that I'm pursuing is I just want to be athletic. I just want to be capable. If I need to run 4 miles for whatever reason, I want to be able to do that, no problem. I want to be able to do, a pull-up, no problem. And I think I've achieved those slightly at this point. The next, or not the next, but the third thing that I'm working on right now is I want to learn Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I have been training now for a month and I'm having such a blast. So I think I'm always gonna be lifting weights till the day that I die. I can guarantee it and put my life on it because I'm just so in love with it now. And Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, or BJJ, is gonna be one of those other things that it's gonna be a lifelong pursuit. All right, guys, so this is the end. I wanna say thank you so much, and hopefully this helps at least one of you guys out there. If you guys like these topics, or if you guys want me to go into more detail with any of the things that I've discussed, please let me know in the comments below, and I will definitely film that for you guys. So until next time, thank you so much.